in February. Do you understand what your duties as finance chair were?
I think I do.
Can you elaborate?
Is raise money for the party to get Republicans elected. Am I right or wrong?
Let me ask about results. I think I have the room to do that within this question. Were you successful?
No.
Thank you. Over the past 235 days, how many meetings of your finance committee were held?
None.
How many members are there on the statewide finance committee?
My understanding is there's 7 plus me, or that would be 8.
You know, can you name the 7 regional finance chairs?
Not at this point, because they've changed 2 or 3 times.
They have not changed at all.
Right, they have. You've appointed to them.
I added one.
I think you added 3.
Not having a real independent chairman here.
I'm trying to prevent misinformation, which lawyers like.
We don't like misinformation. Not myself.
Have you ever called any of the 7 chairs to inquire about or assist in fundraising within their regions?
I thought I recalled.
Thank you. In the past 234 days, did you initiate any fundraising activities on behalf of the party?
I tried.
Did you organize any fundraisers for any of our Republican candidates?
No.
Which Republican candidate did you personally donate to during the 2012 season, and how much did you donate?
Well, about half a dozen. I can't remember all of them. Okay. Stoltz, C.N. Stevens, Shelley Hughes,
In the 2000,
and Andre.
thank you. In the 2012 cycle, the ARP raised funds in its state account and federal account. Those totals were distributed at the December meeting of the Central Committee. Can you tell us how much was raised by the ARP during that cycle?
You're going to have to repeat that one. You lost me on it.
How much money was raised in the 2012 cycle by the ARP?
Mr. Chairman, may I inquire, are these written questions that you have, or are these your own questions?
These were written questions that I am reading.
That you made up?
I did not. I said they were presented to me by someone who is not you. Matter of fact, Mr. Culligan just handed them to me, if you noticed.
They're SEC members, you know.
There are 4 SEC members in jail.
Okay.
As I recall, I asked you that same question last August, maybe. You said we were up to $700,000 in the ARP. That's what I recall.
Okay. You don't know where we were a month after, or today. Do you know how funds for the House and Senate leadership have been raised and distributed?
No, I don't.
Are you comfortable asking Republican donors to contribute to the ARP?
Yes.
Have you had any success in doing so?
No.
The House leadership under Speaker Chenault works to raise funds and are part of the targeting committee for the distribution of funds. How many times have you met with Speaker Chenault?
Once.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Chairman Friedrich, I don't believe that answer is correct.
Well, we will have an opportunity to ask the speaker. Let's pull it. You have a website in which you actively solicit funds for an organization called Alaska Talks Liberty.
That's correct.
What is Alaska Talks Liberty?
It's a radio show.
Why did you solicit funds in October 12 for a political organization in direct competition with both our candidates and our party when it was your responsibility as the ARP finance chair to raise funds for the party?
I didn't see this competition.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask a related question,
Okay.
just out of curiosity. I looked at the website for the radio show, and it appears that it has been changed somewhat substantially in the last week or so. The last time I looked at it, it indicated to me that it was to elect conservative candidates, and now it's an educational effort. When was that changed?
I think probably in the last 2 weeks.
And why was it changed?
The original recipient of funds was a PAC, that I was, but in the budget. That's no longer the case. So now it's receiving funds for the expansion of Alaska Talks Liberty, and not for a PAC.
I tried to find any registration of that as a political organization, a PAC, or anything else with APOC, and couldn't find any. Was it ever registered with APOC?
It never has been.
It has a,
Did it ever raise any money?
Yes.
Okay. And I was, one
You're
other,
forgetting the question.
yeah, one other question in that regard is, it also mentioned that there is that you formed this with a team of people, but I couldn't find anywhere in there who that team was. It says it's business people, clergy, attorneys.
That's Alaska Talks Liberty.
Yeah, but that was the same team. There was a team even when it was talking about it being a PAC. So now it's no longer a PAC, it's an educational effort, but I just couldn't find any indication as to who the team was, and I was just curious. Maybe that's not relevant, but I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, part of the team is my wife, my son, and several people he knows. So that's the team. Okay. In terms of receiving money, that was for Liberty for Alaskans.
And is that a PAC?
That is a PAC. Now, PAC, Liberty for Alaskans, has not had any expenditures.
Yeah,
So
I
they're of course
couldn't-
not
yeah.
required to report anything to
Because I
APOC.
couldn't find it either.
You understand that?
Yeah, I do. That's what, I was just confused.
Sure.
Because it looked like a week ago that it was different than it is today.
It is.
Now
It's been
just-
changed.
Yeah. So the scope or the outreach of the organization is now different than it was a week or two ago.
That's good.
Okay, thank you. Just curious.
Is this the same as Help Alaska Talks Liberty? Alaska Talks Liberty?
Help Alaska Talks Liberty,
Mhm.
I think is a,
Which I printed off today,
Yeah.
and it says,
Help Alaska Talks
my
Liberty.
goal is to raise money to help expand my efforts to build infrastructure to promote the constitutional ideas of liberty and freedom in Alaska. Build through the internet my radio broadcast, online marketing and advertising, public speaking, and encouraging solid constitutional conservatives to run for office at every level. So it is to elect candidates.
It's to promote the philosophy of conservatives and conservative candidates. Not
But it's not a Republican
No,
bloc,
it's not.
it's a,
Conservative candidates.
so you're totally engaged in, if you found a trustworthy Democrat conservative, you would be looking at supporting him with your organization.
You think that's possible?
You have your name perhaps.
Well, that's
I am asking a hypothetical question that has an answer.
real hypothetical.
I really don't anticipate finding that person in a Democrat uniform.
Shall I bring them? Let me go back to ask a couple more questions. Alaska has 2 Republicans serving in Congress. Over the past 234 days, have you initiated contact with Congressman Young?
Yes. No, I didn't initiate contact with Congressman. He initiated contact with me, as I recall.
Only once?
He initiated contact with me. I remember election night, I went by his office and dropped by my card and requested to know where the victory party that he was gonna have for himself. I didn't get a call back. After that, some weeks later, he called me and said his chief of staff, I presume, Chad Paget, called me and asked me to meet with Congress, and, of course, I said, yeah.
That was,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
Mr. Millett just sort of popped a question into my mind. Is an opportunity to ask why on election night he was actually wandering around with a microphone recording people for his radio show as opposed to actually talking to them to build inroads and develop relationships?
I wasn't doing any such thing.
You gotta talk louder, you're talking all the way to Juneau.
Russ, the question was, were you carrying a radio microphone recording system on election eve?
No.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Rex.
I stood by him while he interviewed an individual and actually asked another about coming on the radio show.
Thank you.
No, you're not doing an interview.
Over the last 234 days, have you initiated contact with Senator Lisa Murkowski?
What is the relationship of Lisa Murkowski to Mr. Mackey?
None.
Well, I contacted him, so
He's a lobbyist.
I didn't know that.
He's not staff.
So I guess the answer to the question is no. But I contacted him, inviting him to meet me.
Jerry Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman? Would it be appropriate to make a motion at this point? Or are there more questions? And my motion would be, if it was going to be appropriate, it would be that the SEC at this time go into executive session for the purpose of deliberating these allegations.
Is there a second?
I'm gonna object to that on the basis of the process.
Static second.
He has not had a chance to consult with attorney, he has not had a chance to, now that he knows what the concerns are, should have a
Is
chance
that a
to.
debatable motion?
Would you be quiet?
Please.
Please. He has not had a
It
chance
seems we have a
to,
long-term.
I'm about ready to pull
he has not had a chance to consult with counsel. He's just heard what their concerns are, their legitimate concerns, and he should have a chance to present his responses.
Point of order, can we ask the parliamentarian what the rule is about going into executive session?
We
With the
can.
motion in a second?
The motion is totally in order. I will read one item before, since we have it as a courtesy. How many hours do you spend per week, would you say, working solely on ARP business as chair-elect?
When I was in the office, I would say 10 to 20 hours a week. When I was here in the office. When I could find you here, it took me a long time to get in many times. But I got
We
it.
gave you a key.
You did, about a month after I asked you.
All in favor of going into executive session, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We'd also object to, he has a right to a public hearing, he hasn't asked for any private session.
What do the ARP rules say about executive sessions and what's allowed in executive session?
What was the purpose? You have to state the purpose for the...
I think I'll restate it. I thought I did, but I'll restate it. The purpose of the executive session would be to deliberate these allegations. No decision will be
What was
made.
your
We come
question,
back
Alex?
out and do an open vote.
Is
It's
that permitted by
deliberation.
ARP rules?
Yes.
Where?
ARP and actually Robert's rules.
What trumps that? Is it ARP trumps Robert's?
Turn your
Robert's
cell
trumps
phone
ARP?
off.
Let me play parliamentarian.
Off. Make me. You understand those
Normally,
three little words?
the body has the privilege to put itself into an executive session.
Well, just make sure it's
For
on.
what purpose?
Personnel, deliberation, legal matters, etc.
Show respect.
That's specifically stated in the rules. I think
Executive session is in the rules, I can find it as well.
Well, executive session's in the rules.
It's also in parliamentary procedure.
Could I ask you a question? The motion was to go into executive session to deliberate these allegations, as I understand it. Does that mean to develop a response to them, or just to determine what the allegations are? And
Just deliberations.
With
on
not
this.
deliberation on,
Could you modify it?
but not deliberation on any
Excuse
penalty.
me, I'm trying,
Mr. Ross,
if we could go through the chair, that would be helpful.
if you would clarify your motion to say we're going to go into executive session to review personnel matters for the body.
So moved. So moved.
That is consistent with the
And the
rules.
second was to my right.
Article 1, Section 10 covers it.
Can you define personnel on and deliberate?
Point of
Personnel is not a
information.
defined term, therefore it is adequate and sufficient.
I'd be
Point of
happy to read it if
information.
you want me to.
To the chair, I think Rex was the second on that. He needs to concur.
Rex, are you conferring with the clarification of the motion?
I'm listening to try and make sure I understand it.
Section 10.
We're going to go into executive session, which would allow us to discuss this matter. We cannot make a decision. We cannot take a vote. It is a true executive session. We can then come back and proceed with orderly business. This is totally,
I would agree with that.
you're seconding the activities.
Yes, I concur with my second.
Okay, thank you.
You want somebody to read the...
Point of procedure, Mr. Chairman. I have no problem with you going into executive session if you want to discuss things amongst yourselves. The thing I do have problems with is if you come out with a decision before he's had an opportunity to present his.
Your point has been noted. Thank you. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We will be back very shortly.
Could I make a motion to extend to 9:45?
Excuse me, Jim.
Yes, and we were, make a motion to extend to 9:45.
Steve Straight second.
Steve Straight seconds. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
We just extended time.